The NFL trade deadline is rapidly approaching, and joining us now to talk about what the Patriots could be doing at the NFL trade deadline is CBS Sports NFL analyst JP Acosta. And JP, thanks for being with us. Fun time to talk about the Patriots with them right now in first place in the AFC East at 7-2. And let's just start with this. What do you see as the biggest area of needs for the Patriots as we approach the trade deadline that's coming up tomorrow?
Well, when I think about the Patriots and the things that they need, I think the first thing you look at is offensive firepower. You're looking at receivers, you're looking at running backs. I think that this receiver core is played well above what they actually are. I think adding another impact receiver can really help, especially with a quarterback playing as well as Drake May has this season. And then you look at the running back spot where it's sort of been a little bit in flux with Antonio Gibson out for the rest of the season. Ramondre Stevenson is fine, but also has major fumbling issues, and it feels like Travion Henderson hasn't really been able to make the step up into the role that was originally planned for him when they took him in the second day of the draft. So the first two things I think of are receiver and running back. And then for me personally, the last one, you can never have too many pass rushers. So I think going out and adding another pass rusher, you think about going out and adding another guy in the secondary. Those few positions are the ones that will really help push a team from plucky, fun AFC team to legitimate contender.
I'm going to throw out three running back names for you. Cleveland's Jerome Ford, Tennessee's Tony Pollard, and then the Jets' Breece Hall. Which of these names, these three that I mentioned, seems most likely that they could be a Patriot by the time the trade deadline comes? Not saying it's going to happen for any of those three, but if you had to pick one of those three, which one do you think it could be?
I think most likely would probably be Jerome Ford. When you look at Ford and what he brings to an offense, he's going to be relatively cheap. He's probably not going to cost a lot to really bring onto the team. He's a really effective pass catcher, pass protector on third downs, and he takes a lot of carries off of Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson. And then after that, I think Tony Pollard will make a lot of sense. He's a little bit more of a runner than receiver, but when you have Henderson, who's a better receiver, you have Ramondre Stevenson, who you need to take some blows off of, and it just feels like he fits a little bit better. Whereas with Breece Hall, I think that he is the best back of the bunch. But I also don't think that's likely to happen when it comes to the Patriots because it's an in-division trade, because you're basically helping out another team in the division. You still will have to play the Jets again. I don't think the Jets will be making an in-division trade with the Patriots, especially for a guy as talented as Hall. So if I were to rank them, I go Ford because it's going to be especially cheap. Pollard makes the most sense when it comes to value and what he can bring to the team. And Breece Hall feels like the pipe dream, but I think the Jets are going to be a little less likely to trade them to the Patriots.
Yeah, without a doubt. Let's go to the edge rusher side of things. You mentioned that being a need for the Patriots, and they missed out on Jalen Phillips, who was just traded from the Dolphins to the Eagles, and they got a third round pick back, that being the Dolphins. Who are some other possible names that they could go out and snag at that position?
I really like Malcolm Kuntz, edge rusher for the Las Vegas Raiders. He's still trying to recover from the injury that he suffered in 2024, but in 2023, when he was fully healthy, he had a really productive year as a pass rusher. He wins with speed, he wins with bend around the corner. And I think he really fits into what the Patriots want to be as a pass rush unit. Another guy that I think of is actually Jalen Phillips' teammate, Bradley Chubb. He plays a little bit more force, a little bit more oomph as a pass rusher when it comes to winning with power. So he might be able to help a little bit more in the run game. But those are two guys that I think will really be effective, really be helpful for the Patriots as they try and turn up their pass rush even more. But I really like Malcolm Kuntz in that Patriots defense.
Do you expect this team to take big swings, or do you expect them to just pick up maybe little piece by piece, with them still being a relatively young team, obviously playing very well, but exceeding expectations in some ways?
I think that this team is going to try and make a swing. And I think it's because when you look at the landscape of the AFC, of course, the Bills and the Chiefs are probably still two of the top teams, but the Patriots right now are at the top of the AFC. They're leading the AFC East. They have a chance to get home field advantage going into the playoffs, and you have a quarterback playing at an MVP level. Of course, this team is very young, and I do think that this is a long-term build, but when you have the moment right now, when you have the opportunity to go win a Super Bowl, I think you have a really good shot to go do it right now coming out of the AFC. So while I think that this team is still like a long-term deal, I think making a big swing makes a lot of sense because the AFC still has a lot of teams in flux. There's still a lot of questions about all of them. If you can make one big swing, that separates you from being a plucky, like fun, maybe we'll get into the wild card or divisional and bow out versus we're legitimately going to try and win a Super Bowl right now, the quarterback that's playing at a high level.
Yeah, Drake May's had an incredible season. But what do you make of the Patriots in general? Because some people will say when they look at the record, okay, they played a lot of bad teams, and you look at the strength of schedule. Obviously, it's the best in terms of being the easiest in the NFL. So what do you make of their start, the way they played, just the totality of it?
I think the Patriots, I know a lot of people have brought up the strength of schedule, the teams that they have played, but the Patriots are still in year one of this Mike Vrabel rebuild, coming off of a year one in Gerard Mayo rebuild that went poorly, like that went terribly. So this team is still incredibly young. There's still a lot of holes. And the fact that you are still 7-2, despite not having an offensive line that's played very well, despite not having a run game, I think it speaks to the quality of Drake May and how he's played, but also Mike Vrabel and what he's brought to this front office, what he's brought to this team when it comes to coaching, raising floors. So while I think that this team is still very young and still has a little bit of flaws, the fact that you're getting great coaching and great quarterback play has elevated this team a little bit. I'm not going to say that they're fool's gold, but I'm also not going to say they're like a dominant team. But when you have a quarterback playing at a high level and you have great coaching, we have seen that formula for teams go really far. So I think they're well set up for the future, but right now they can really go make a run.
Yeah, this Vrabel May duo has been already pretty fruitful here in year one, and it's been a lot of fun here to watch in New England, and we'll see what they can do at the trade deadline. CBS Sports NFL analyst JP Acosta, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate the insight.
Thank you for having me.